Good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, and we're here with Samurai 50. We are not at Style Labs headquarters. We are virtual, given the circumstances. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes to make sure my team gives me the thumbs up that we're all good, because funny things are happening with technology. So this is take two with Kathy Yuen, and we had Kathy on a few weeks ago in person at the office, and we had a fantastic chat. We had so much great energy. Kathy's amazing. And then we went to watch the replay later, and there was no sound. So these things happen. So Kathy graciously agreed to join us again for take two of some great information, and that's why we're going virtually now. So thank you so much for joining us again, Kathy. We really
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, we really wanted to make sure that everyone gets to hear your story and hear all of your amazing insights, because you really are so inspiring and and so incredibly successful in what you do. So thanks for joining us, everybody, here at Style Labs and on the Samurai 50 Live. Every Friday, we bring you inspiring individuals, successful individuals, entrepreneurs of all kinds, all types, all sizes. And our goal is to really, showcase businesses and people and the success, the journey, the bumps, everything along the way. So Kathy has certainly had her fair share of all of those things. So we're going to dive right in. So Kathy is the owner of Phase One Designs here in Calgary. And Phase One Designs is wildly successful. Kathy has been wildly successful. So we're going to talk to her about that entire journey. So Kathy, why don't we start right from the beginning? Tell us how this started for you.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So my personal background, I'm educated as an architectural technologist, and I went to SAIT in Calgary. My first, exposure to, call it, the design and building industry, I actually wanted to become an on-site project manager. I always thought there was something really cool about being on site, working side by side with the trades and seeing the construction of a building from the ground up, literally. So that was, so my first exposure to the industry was as a construction project manager. How I actually got that job, I was actually not technically qualified for the position that I actually wanted to apply for. So you had to be an engineer in training in EIT to get hired. And I was like, well, I'm not in EIT, but I'm in AT. So, that's kind of close enough, right? So basically they told me, nope, we're not giving you this job, this company I really want to work for at the time. And I was like, no, I don't like that answer. So I actually just ended up calling the guy that interviewed me pretty much like every single day for, I think it was something like 2 months. And I'm not, to this day, I'm not really sure why exactly he ended up giving me the job, but he gave me the job. It probably just to be like, hey, can this crazy lady just stop calling me now? But the point is I got the job. There was a catch though. At the time I was living in Calgary, and the job site they actually put me on was actually in Canmore. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the distance there, that was a 2-hour drive every day from my front door of my house to the front door of my project that I was actually running. So basically I would drive 2 hours, work a 12-hour day, and then I would drive 2 hours back home every single day. And I did this for years. But the cool thing about that was the person I was actually driving with was a senior project, a senior site superintendent, and he was in the industry for years. So his name is Norm, and to this day, he's still my best mentor that I've ever had. And so there's 4 hours of me being like, hey, Norm, what about this? Why did this happen? And, basically I got a private teacher basically every day, 4 hours of just understanding everything there was to know about construction. So that was my first exposure to the industry, and that was probably the greatest learning experience I've ever had. And then fast forward a few years later, one of my friends, I was actually doing some side jobs, just doing design and drafting. And one of my friends, I remember, said to me, hey, Kathy, why don't you just start your own business doing that full-time, design and drafting? And I remember thinking and actually saying out loud, I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. How hard could it possibly be, right? Start a business. So, so a few weeks later, I decided that's what I was doing. I resigned what, at the time was my dream job. I started Phase One Design, and there was no looking back. The rest is history.
Wow, that's so incredible. And you said earlier, you said, I'm not sure why he hired me. Well, I think that's obvious. Your tenacity, your passion, your
Aw.
drive, or going after what you wanted, no matter what, you didn't like the answer, and you accepted that. That's amazing. And thank goodness for people like Norm, right?
Yes,
Our
yes,
our our mentors, whether you know it at the time or not, they're so, so important to
absolutely.
have those
Yeah,
people in our lives. So, Norm, if you ever watch this,
yeah,
thank goodness for people like you, and been able to help, as a stepping stone for Kathy to get where she is now.
yeah. I'm
So
gonna have to send him a clip. I don't.
yeah, no, for sure. I think it's so important, and we hear that here when we are interviewing people. It's almost always the same thing. If there is a person or a number of people that we
Yeah.
have as mentors that you can see now really helped you, and you think you were annoying him on your 2 hours there and 2 hours back, and maybe you were some of the time, but what an education. And for you to see that as an opportunity to take that, those 2 hours and learn and just get everything out of him that you could. I mean, so smart, so intuitive, so
Thank you,
smart.
Norm.
Yeah. Thank you, Norm, for sure. For sure. So phase one design started, that was your okay, I'm going to do this. It sounds like a good idea. And now you have offices in Calgary, Kelowna, Toronto, I understand. So back then when you made the decision, your friend put the bug in your ear, the idea, did you have any idea that this is what would end up to be? Your
Oh,
company would end up to be?
oh my God. No. I mean, yes and no. I think at the time, I had really, really big dreams. And, I like to think I always had big dreams of doing something really big and something really impactful. I think as the years go on and as you evolve and grow your business, what exactly that means does change. But I do think that, the vision that I had back then in terms of doing something really big and growing the company to a point where we're impacting other people's lives, that was always the vision from day one. And I do think we have accomplished that. Lots of ups and downs to get there. But yeah, I do feel like we are still on track.
Yeah, yeah, good for you. What a vision. So tell us about phase one designs. Exactly what do you do? Like who's your clientele and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a custom home design firm, and I always like to actually call them dream homes because I do believe that what we do is we design people's dream homes. So whether or not that's a brand new build from the ground up or a major renovation, we help homeowners through that whole process of not only design. So we do the floor plans, what does the exterior look like, but all the way through interior finishings and everything like that. And then also the design is a really important part of the process, but also on the back end, all the technical stuff in terms of, getting approvals and permits and all that. So basically the whole process from start to finish of helping a homeowner realize their dream home from the ground up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what a nice sort of connection to have to somebody's, dream home.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah, I mean, that's incredible because often that is something that that's been on their mind and on their heart for many, many years.
Yeah.
So for you to come in and help them fulfill that for themselves
Yeah.
and family,
Yeah.
nice.
It's really
Nice.
cool. I always say I have the coolest job ever, and so does my team. So
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah.
So tell us about starting back then, what challenges you feel that you had to overcome. And did you didn't know when you were going into it, when you were just starting out with the idea. What are some of those challenges and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. Well, I think probably the bigger question is what challenge didn't we have? We had all of them. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think the biggest challenge was for me anyways, was just not understanding anything about business. So, I was obviously trained as an architectural technologist and I had that background, but on the business side, how do you start a business? How do you run a business? All that kind of stuff. I had no idea. And then to kind of build on that, I had no money. So, I couldn't go out there and go hire a business coach or join a CEO group and all these things that I did years and years later. So what I actually ended up doing is I basically got my hands on every single business book I could possibly get my hands on and just read. So, kind of self-taught myself everything I wanted to know about business. How do you sell a project? How do you do marketing? How do you do accounting, financing? Okay, maybe not accounting, more finance.
Yeah.
business financials. So I literally just read as many books as I could, consumed as much knowledge as I could, until I got to the point where I scraped together enough money to actually hire a business coach. So, and yeah, and then I think too, the other challenge at the very beginning was just being really young. Like I was 26 years old when I started this company, and just trying to penetrate this industry that was, it's primarily male dominated as well. So that was a little bit of that. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
I mean, seriously, you're young, you're a woman, you're in home building, you do not have a business background, and there's that tenacity and determination and fire, again, learning through books and digging into everything you could. And I can imagine never giving up, because you probably hit lots of walls,
yes, like every day, multiple walls.
Multiple walls, and you didn't give up and you just kept going. So would you say in that process there's anything that stands out that you maybe had to sacrifice at that time?
Yeah, like I think a lot of the sacrifices, as I think a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to, is really just giving up a lot of my time. So my personal life specifically, I've always been really good at just making sure there's a good balance, making sure I'm always spending time with the people in my life that are really important to me, friends, family, and, making sure I'm healthy. But definitely in like my 30s, I'm going to totally date myself here if I start talking about age. But yeah, like the first, call it at least 10 years of the business, I definitely gave up a lot of vacations, didn't travel at all. And just like a lot of time in general, like evenings, weekends, but I think as you get like a little bit older, wiser, and your business starts to mature, you get to the point where you understand how to do the same amount of things in a more efficient manner. So, I kind of see in my mind anyways, those, call it first 10 years of, sacrifice, if you want to call it that, as more of like an investment into the business. Whereas like now it's like, you kind of sow the seeds and now you're kind of reaping the fruits of your labor, if you will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So with all of that in mind, how do you, year after year, how do you stay the course? What's your strategy?
I think it's really just having a positive attitude. So is my mic muted?
Muted you for a second.
Oh, okay. Am I still muted? You can hear me? Okay, awesome. Sorry, you're asking me how to stay the course? How I stay the course? Right. So yeah, I think just like having a positive attitude. I'm definitely like the glass is half full kind of person always. So really just having a positive attitude every day, practicing gratitude for what I have. I mean, we all have our good days and our bad days. I have them too. I have them all the time. But I always try to do something where every day I wake up and I always think of like 1 to 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it could be something so simple. Like today, you wake up, it's like, oh, the sun is shining. Like, I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but, really just finding the little things in life and really taking a moment to stop and appreciate them for what they are. Oh, no. Hey, Leanne, you're muted. Yes. I think you're still muted. I can't hear you. It's still muted. Or maybe it's just me. Uh-oh. How do we have any technical people on the line that could help us with this? That would not be me. Sorry, everyone. Uh-oh. Okay, So I think what's happening, I think Leanne's just logging back on. So we'll just wait for her to come back.
How about now?
Yay! Yes.
I had to reset because it showed I was unmuted, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, weird. So that's okay.
We're
back now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. We were talking about, you know, taking time for the simplest of things, you know, staying in gratitude to stay on track and focused. And now more than ever, those little things are so important, facing, you know, everything that we're up against here. So what would you say has been your biggest success, you know, then going through it up to now? I mean, I know there's not just one answer for that question either, but if you could pinpoint one thing, what would you say it was?
Like the biggest key to success?
Key to your success. Yes.
Oh, okay. I would say persistence and hard work. And just going for it. Even if you don't have it all figured out, you know, and I've been super guilty of this on multiple occasions, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that can relate to this, but, you know, you're like, okay, I'm going to go, you know, pursue this goal, let's just say, and you have this in your head, but then, you know, you're trying to get everything lined up 100% perfect, and then you just never end up executing it, right? Like sometimes you just get stuck in, like, you know, call it the planning stage forever. And planning is good, 100%. You need to do that. I'm a huge believer in planning things, but if you just get stuck in that stage and you never execute, then, you know, then nothing really ever happens. So really at the end of the day, just going for it and just executing. And sometimes you don't have it all figured out. And yeah, sometimes it's not going to work, but then you just keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Done is better than perfect. We hear that.
100%. Yes.
And, you know, and chances are when you have done it once, twice, 3 times, you're not going to make the same mistakes again.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, just going for it. And you have certainly demonstrated right from when you were young that that's how you kind of got where you are. You just kept going and not accepting I can't or no or anything along the way. So with the state of where we're at now, I mean, we're now in our, I kind of lost track. Are we in the phase 2? I don't know what we're in here, but we're still dealing with this pandemic. So yes. How has the pandemic affected you, you know, 9 months ago to now? What has that looked like for you and for your business?
Yeah, so great question. It was admittedly really scary at first, you know, like, and I think everybody was in the same boat where when it happened, you know, the first week, the first month even, that like nobody really knew what was happening. Okay, what do I do? There's no precedence for this. For us, like, you know, a lot of our clients put their projects on hold, you know, and totally understandably. So, you know, as a business and as the same with all other business out there, we were just scrambling really. So we had to get really creative and come up with some ideas of how to, you know, make sure that the business could still sustain through whatever was coming our way, which at the time we didn't even know, right? And we still, to a huge degree, don't know. So, but what was a positive thing that came out of that, and I think there's actually a lot of examples in other businesses, which is kind of cool, is we actually ended up coming up with a bunch of different product ideas, product offerings that were accessible to, you know, a larger population of people, products that and services that we could deliver digitally online. So I think, you know, trying to find, again, the positive in all of this is I think that what this pandemic has forced a lot of businesses to do is just kind of think outside the box. And I think a lot of cool, innovative ideas has come out of that as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And the businesses that are able to figure out the opportunity in all of this versus just accepting status quo. And there's that again for you. Not accepting that. So looking at where those opportunities are and how now you have another source, another way that you didn't have before, that will add to your business when we come out of this, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
So really it's an opportunity that has come out of it, along with some things that haven't been going good. But I know that the industry itself, home building improvements and all of that is actually really busy.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that's exactly what we're seeing across the board as well. You know, just talking to other colleagues in the industry. And, you know, I can't tell you with 100% certainty why, but my personal theory is that, you know, everyone is just at home more, right? And possibly saving a bit more money because nobody's traveling or vacationing. And so now they're kind of looking around and saying, hey, like, what can we do with the space that we're in all the time? And then now investing their money back into their homes.
Yeah. And dynamics changing where, you know, maybe the kids now need a proper homeschooling space where they take
Exactly. Yeah.
the work situation where they're not going back to the office. So now it's work at home. I need a proper workspace. So all of those configurations and life changes have resulted in, you know, businesses like yours really, really busy and able to help them through, right? So it's great. It's great to no slowdown for some businesses. So.
And I'm very, very grateful for that. You know, we're just because obviously like that's in our industry and not the same across the board for other industries, but definitely very, very grateful to be part of this industry.
Yeah. And it's nice. I mean, it's nice to be able to see some businesses thriving and then able to support local.
Yes,
again,
100%.
Doing that as well. So Kathy, let's shift gears a bit and talk about, because I know this is really important to you because we've talked about it last time, about how important self-care is in all of this, not just now with what we're dealing with, but just in general. So how important is self-care to you, and what does your self-care routine and regimen look like?
Okay. Yeah. So I think self-care, as you said, is really, really important. So, you know, the way I see it is, you know, just as a business, not only a business person, but, you know, you have so many people that are dependent upon you, right? So your business depends on you, your staff depends on you. Most people have a family that depends on them. And so you really need to show up as your best self every single day. And really the only way to do that is just to make sure you're at your best, and both mentally and physically. So I really, really do prioritize that. I never used to. I was really guilty of, you know, like eating granola bars between meetings and chips, like whatever was in my bag, whatever you could grab, not sleeping well, all that kind of stuff. But a few years ago, I actually read a book that actually totally changed my life and kind of flipped that all upside down. You may have heard of it, The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. I know I talked about this a few times, like publicly, but yeah, this book legitimately changed my life. So, I mean, I won't go through the whole thing, but for those of you who are listening, read the book. It will hopefully change your life too. But they talk about a 20-20-20 routine. So, so basically, the premise behind it is the 20-20-20 is like 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So the first hour of your day, you do 20 minutes of exercise, and then 20 minutes of meditation / journaling. And just as a side note, for those of you who have never meditated before, like I had no idea. I'm like, what is this meditation thing? I have no idea. So I just downloaded an app. I mean, like there's an app for everything, right? So the app I use is Headspace, which is, amazing. Just put a little plug in there for that, I guess. And then the other 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes is learning. So for me, what that means is I love audiobooks. I love consuming knowledge. So, you know, 20 minutes while I'm getting ready or whatever in the morning, I'll actually like listen to an audiobook. And it doesn't seem like at the time, it doesn't seem like you're actually really like consuming that much. But if you think about it, 20 minutes of learning every single day for 365 days a year, even if you miss a few days, like that's a lot. So it definitely has enhanced just how I start my day, and it just kind of grounds you and really allows you to prioritize yourself before, you know, your day and the craziness, which is your day, starts.
No, it's I love that, and it is so overlooked, and it is like 20-20-20. Everybody can do that. If you're up at 5 a.m., the world hasn't really started yet. So, I know the book. I've read it more than once. And in the at Stylelabs, we're all big readers as well. And that book has changed many of the people that I work with, has changed their lives, changed my life too. The 5 a.m. situation literally changed my life.
For sure.
Because nothing is happening at 5 that can get in your way. Later in the day, life happens, and these excuses, come up, and you sort of are accepting of them because it's work and life and all of that, but not so much at 5 a.m. So
for sure. And I know it sounds really scary too, because it's like 5 a.m. I'm like, I'm not ever waking up that early. Like I still get those comments all the time. And I'm like, you know what, just try it. Like, and it actually becomes addicting. Like, I always feel bad when I sleep in now.
It's true. And I mean, I have been 5:30, and then I, don't need to get up quite that early. So I actually, just to kind of, keep myself still in part of the 5 a.m. club,
Yeah.
I changed it to 5:59. I got up at
5:59, exactly. Starts at the 5. But then you get that extra 59 minutes of sleep. That's a good trick. I'm going to have to try that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if, hey, if it's not 5 a.m., whatever that time is for you, maybe it's 6. Doesn't have to be 5 a.m., but the principles behind Robin Sharma's method and just having that routine every day to set you up for success and to have you, in the right frame of mind to deal with whatever comes your way throughout the day. And, the 20 minutes of learning over the course of 365 days in a year, over the course of many, many years, it's a game changer. It
is. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you brought that up, and we've talked about that because it's doable. It's not something that's going to completely disrupt your life and your routine. You can do all of this from home.
Yeah.
And I do encourage people to try it, and we'll put the headspace below, and we'll put Robin Sharma's book below as well when we populate the comments after this live, because people will want to know.
Just try it. I encourage everyone just to try it.
Just try it for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Kathy, would you see a common thread? Like, what mistakes do you think that startups or entrepreneurs typically make?
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, I made this mistake as well when I started. It's not having a holistic view of the whole company, and not paying enough attention to all the different areas of the company. So what I mean by that is, as an example, I could be the world's greatest designer, but let's just say if I didn't understand how to do sales and marketing, you're not going to have new clients come in, or, maybe you are going to have new clients come in, but it's going to be much slower. If you don't understand how financials of a company work, you could be doing all this work and then just finding out, years later, oh, well, like I didn't even make any money, or maybe even worse, you're losing money. So it's just understanding all the different pieces that of like a business. So as a designer, yes, you have to be a good designer, but then obviously you need all these other pieces that make a successful company. And that's really hard, like it's easy for me to talk about this now because obviously I've been through it. But when you're first starting, like you don't know any of this stuff, and it was the same for me. So I think one of the best pieces of advice I would have to overcome this, and what I still continue to try to do all the time, is really just surrounding themselves with other entrepreneurs or people who have skill sets in all these different areas. So for example, I have friends who are really strong in the finance department. So if I have a question about that, like I know I can just call them and be like, hey, what about this? And, have an answer. You don't need to, nor would I recommend trying to learn all this stuff and being experts in all these areas. I actually think that's impossible, but just trying to find like subject matter experts that you can surround yourself with. So you kind of have like a little mini, call it board of advisors around you to help you through that.
Yeah, excellent advice. Excellent advice. I completely agree. And then it allows you to stay an expert and practice your expertise in your zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what you're best at. So I love that. So Kathy, what do you love most about what you do? Like, what drives you? And is there something else you see yourself doing, or why do you love what you do so much?
So I love what I do mainly because I feel like I make a difference in people's lives. And that for me is really, really, really important. Like, not to sound morbid, but it's like, okay, what are people going to say about you at your funeral? Like, did you actually make a difference in this world? Right. So I also think, we obviously make a difference in people's lives, designing people's dream homes, which I'm very grateful for, that I'm fortunate enough to be able to make that type of impact. But even things like being able to lead a team of really, really amazing, talented people, and, being able to come to work every day and saying, okay, I have the ability to make a positive impact in everyone's lives. And sometimes it could just be as simple as like, just being positive energy around other people, and, being a positive influence, or, mentoring someone. So just having the ability to do that as not only a designer, but as a business person.
Yeah.
You have that influence.
Having that personal touch as well. And I mean, I think that's super important. We do that here. I personally love that we're able to help people, with their businesses, and not, I feel so connected to that purpose, and it does
Yeah.
help me and drive you through all of those challenges and struggles, because you know you're making a difference in the world.
Definitely. Yeah.
You certainly are. So we really appreciate everything that you do in the business community and in
Thank
the
you.
world of human being as well. So we're going to wrap it up, Kathy. And where can people reach out to find you on any of your channels, or what's the best way for people to find you?
Yeah, so Phase One Design is basically we're on all the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Phase One Design, PHASEONE Design. Or you can go check out our website at phaseonedesign.ca.
Awesome. Well, we are going to check that all out, and we're going to tag you here as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Really look forward to catching up again, because I know you've got a bunch of exciting projects on the go that are not going to be, we're not going to reveal yet, but we want to have you back to talk about those exciting projects again in the future. So
yeah, we'd love to.
Thank you so much for joining us for Take Two virtual here. And, hopefully next time we see you, we'll be back in the studio, in the office, and in person, and all of this will be distant memory for us to look back on. So thank you so much.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, and we will see you guys next time. Have a great
Take
weekend.
care. Bye.